This is Malaya. Let me be your guide.
Hello everyone, today I had great pleasure to speak with Deborah and Caroline, two amazing female entrepreneurs. So my first question is if you can share with us what is your story and how you start to work together as a team.
Oh, wow. That's a fun story, hey? I'll start and then I'll pass it over to Caroline because, you know, the great thing about us is that we have two different interpretations. So, I mean, for me, really, wanting to become an entrepreneur came out of probably more of a need is I just had a really great desire for a different life. So I came from a single mom. Finances were definitely a challenge. You know, I felt like my mom was really kind of trapped in what she could do. And she tried to break out a number of times and to be able to make kind of more for the family. But it was really kind of restricted. You know, it was obviously a different generation. And I just wanted to have a different life. And so I felt that by becoming an entrepreneur, I had a little bit more control. So it wasn't easy necessarily to become an entrepreneur. I talk kind of back in the day. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. And so breaking ground in my 20s wasn't always so, what are you doing? You know, but for me, it really came from a place of wanting to be able to have an unlimited resource of finances and time if I so needed it so that I could have a different life with my children than we experienced. So that's kind of my start into entrepreneurship. And then meeting this amazing woman was a whole different ballgame because we happened to, in two different sides of Canada, end up on the same marketing tour to open up Australia. So being from Canada, going over to Australia, and I heard that there was going to be this woman, Caroline from Montreal there. And I was like, oh, that's cool, you know. And then we ended up on the same trade show floor, the same shift, right? And she had just flown in the day after me. And it was a marketing tour of 6 women, 11 flights, 13 hotels, and 5 trade shows. Now, I know there's someone out there listening that's like, ooh, that must have been interesting. I'd like to be a fly on the wall. So me and this one kind of joined forces and ended up staying in the same bedroom and really became allies. And then I'm actually going to let Caroline, you know, share about why and how we ended up doing what we're doing together. So I'll let her take it here.
Thank you. It's so funny. Yes, we do have different perspective. So when we did meet on that marketing tour, you know, we are in the same company and our business is part of the same company. And I knew that Deb Drummond would be there. And I was quite intimidated because she has, you know, quite the reputation, and she's a person who racks up all the awards and is always in front of everyone. And I was just like, oh goodness, that's going to be quite something. And then when I got there, after flying for 40 hours, I saw her on the trade show floor, and honestly, my brain was like, you know, it was mush. And she's just like, hi. And I'm like, great. And the other person is like, oh, you're sharing the room with Deborah. And I was just like, what? So that's basically how we met. We shared our bedroom for basically 4.5 weeks. And believe me, when you travel with someone this long, you end up never speaking again or best friends. There's no in between. So I guess that we did end up as best friends. And, you know, yes, being 6 women, you have to find an ally, and we both very fast became each other's ally. And Deb really, we started working together and helping each other. And we started doing a lot of presentations together, and then it was business presentations, which technically is kind of serious. And people would be like, oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. Can I have the recording? And we were like, what? Because I do bug her a little, you know, and I'm going to be nice here. So I'm not going to throw all my flowers here. But by bantering with each other and having people starting to ask us, like, can we have the recordings? We started thinking, hey, why don't we do a podcast? Well, Deb started thinking, why don't we do a podcast? Because she always has a million projects in mind. And I was just like, not sure. But anyway, we started, and literally in the matter of a week, I think we put the podcast together, and it's been a blast. Honestly, I'll let Deb say what the podcast is about. But our second project, we were being interviewed, and the person asked us, so that was probably 2 months in. The person asked us, so do you have any future project on the line? And Deb is like, yes, we're publishing a book. And I was hearing it at the same time as everyone. And I was just like, what? But, I kept the face and I was just like, yeah, we're publishing a book. So basically, within the span of 3 months, we've put together an amazing project and it's launching tomorrow. So Deb, talk a little bit about our podcast.
Sure. Awesome. So that's, same story, different sides, but yes, I do kind of tend to throw ideas out, and we did become good allies, and we also became very good friends. And we just had a natural, because people ask us, like, how do you guys work together? It was just natural, knowing each other's skills and throwing the ball back and forth. The one thing that I would say, the reason why Caroline and I have become such great friends is we have the same mission in life. We have the same morals and we have the same values. And one of those is really strong about entrepreneurship and the world of entrepreneurship, and really culturing that, supporting that and encouraging that. And so when we decided to do our podcast, it's about lifepreneurs and entrepreneurs, and really giving kind of hats off to people that jump in with 2 feet. Even if they're not an entrepreneur, there's amazing people out there, those everyday people that do amazing things, that change lives, that are all in, right? It could be their passion. It could be their hobby. They don't necessarily get paid for it. They don't do the entrepreneur thing that we do, but they live from their guts. They live from their guts. And so we're like, hey, we've got a platform for you. Tell people what you're doing. We did an amazing fundraiser for a woman who started a mental health association because her husband, decided that he didn't want to be here anymore. And so she dealt with what that was like. And so we have all these great concepts and ideas, and we meet a lot of really good people. And so that was really the idea around the podcast. And Caroline came up with the name True That because she's really big on people telling it as it is. And if you get to know Caroline, you'll know she tells it as it is. I'm the buffer in the relationship. I'm like, no, she didn't really mean it like that. She's like, yeah, I did. So she's the buffer, with good cop, bad cop, depending. So anyways, that's kind of what we decided to do. And then when the book came around, because we're really, we're very professional in our business, and we feel that the industry that we're in, which is one of the businesses we're in together, is around network marketing. And so we really wanted to raise the bar on people's perception of that industry, because we believe it's the most equal opportunity employer in the world. Anyone can come in and step in and be surrounded and supported. And so because it also has the highest ratio of millionaires and 6-figure earners for women in North America, right? And so being women entrepreneurs and getting into this business, and Caroline had a single mom and I had a single mom and we had families to support. It really does. There's a lot of women that get into that industry. And so the book that we're launching tomorrow that Caroline talked about is 20 Powerful Women in Network Marketing Tell All. It's like unlock the gate and just, tell the truth about entrepreneurship. So, yeah.
I like the way how you start to work together, and like your personal story and how you connect. So, Caroline, can you share a little bit more about who you are serving today?
Honestly, I would say it's pretty much any human being who wants to better themselves or better their life. I've discovered network marketing and personal development 9 years ago. And for me, it was a game changer. It really when my life is about, life is a choice. It doesn't happen to you. It's you're choosing what's happening, and you also have the power to shift anything you want in your life. So I think that via the podcast, our network marketing business, our book, it's really that we want to help people realize. We want to inspire people that you always have the power in your hands. So who we are serving is anyone who is ready to hear it, basically. The book is really geared towards women. It's 20 Powerful Women. We did think about doing a gender mix book because there's amazing people in network marketing. We chose to separate into genders because we chose to do one only for women because we thought, women and men don't operate the same way. So we are also launching a book for men. It's going to be 20 influential men in network marketing, but that's going to be in 2 months, unless Deb says it's in 2 weeks. But, what we realized, is that the 2 books are not that different. It's the stories are told with different perspectives, but it's not as different as we thought it would be. So it's super interesting. But I would say, for me, one of my biggest passion is to help women, but it's also to help all of the underdogs. So that's pretty much what I'm focusing on. And I think we all have an underdog in us. So it's just a question of, getting it, working with it, and letting it go.
My background before I got into pure entrepreneurship was I have a big addiction to music, and I used to work in the nightclub industry, and that has its own interesting culture. And at a certain point, there was a pivot for me. It was fun. It was great, dancing and, going out with the club and all of that scene. And then honestly, one day I came home from work, which is not unusual to come home from work at 5 or 6 in the morning because you close the club and you go out for dinner. I mean, it's just no big deal. But I came home and it was about 5:30 or 6 in the morning. And it was like, it was a washover. I literally was just brushing my teeth in the bathroom sink, and it was like, this is over. This is done. And it was like instant. And it was almost like it wasn't me. I called my manager at the club the next day and I said, I'm not coming back. And he literally said, are you sick? And I said, no. And he goes, why aren't you coming back? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just done. And that was kind of the beginning of, I think, myself talking to myself. And then literally a book fell into my hand. It was Shakti Gaiwan, Living in the Light. I can tell you today, I was in my 20s. I'm now in my 50s. It was a game changer that changed. I remember reading it feverishly, and it was just feeding me, and it took me in a whole different direction. And then I fell in love with, it found me into holistic medicine. And before I joined with Caroline in this business, I had a private health studio for 27 years. I've done 30,000 treatments, healing people's body and mind and that kind of thing. So I went from nightclubs to holistic medicine into distributing natural products with this lovely lady.
It's so funny because, whenever I hear Deb speak, we are polar opposite in a lot of things, but our background is so similar and our values are so similar. So that's probably why in the end we end up like having a great synergy. But I've been working since I'm 13, always tried to find ideas on how to make money. They were not all good. They were not all, I shouldn't have done them all. But I mean, I've always been with the mindset of earning money and developing projects and this and that. I turned to corporate at some point just because I had my first child when I was 24 and I needed something that was stable. So I did not go to the entrepreneurship path right away. I really went to corporate. I wanted the security of a paycheck, but then I wasn't happy with that. And I had really big positions in different companies. And some didn't necessarily align 100% with my personal values, but I didn't know, when I started it, like, let's say I worked for a really big brewery, one of the biggest here in Canada. Mm-hmm. And as I was working and developing and increasing my sales numbers, I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I should help these people stop drinking. And instead I'm finding amazing marketing strategies to sell them more, so it was always a battle in my mind. So I ended up going into the nonprofits. I worked for a cancer agency that we took from nothing and we built to millions. It was a very rare cancer. But that also came with a lot of, responsibilities, stress, a lot of emotional attachment because it was a cause and I was working with real people that I was losing along the way because it was an incurable cancer. And at the same time, I also lost my dad and, a lot of things happened. And I came to a place in my life where, I burnt out. I literally burnt out in many different ways. But that whole experience left me, realizing that I needed to find solutions to live better, to be healthier, to really face life instead of just like running through it and numbing everything by taking another project or having another glass of wine or this or that or that. So for me, that was 9 years ago. And that's when I had to really shift and say, you know, is life about this? And for me, the answer was clearly no, because it brought me, first of all, to getting sick, but second of all, as well, to not seeing my kids as much as I wanted to, not raising my third one. Well, I was raising her, but a lot in daycare. So for me, that 9 years ago when I started entrepreneurship, it was really to gain back the freedom of my life. And, I didn't start in a regular entrepreneurship. I started in an easier industry where you do invest your energy and your efforts, but you don't put any other collateral on it. So the only thing that was needed was desire and willpower. And I do have that. So since then, I've been with my kids for the last 9 years, dropped off my daughter every morning and picked her up after school every night. So very grateful for all of that.
Yeah, it's interesting when you share like how everything looks very different at the beginning, but then at the end is the same, or similar. Thank you both of you for sharing your great story. And I would also like to ask you about your show.
Well, the True That show is really like kind of what I was saying. It's got this spunk. It's got a vibe to it. It's very upbeat. It's people getting raw, lifepreneurs and entrepreneurs. If people want to come on and talk about something really amazing that's going on that they want to promote or encourage people to hear more about. But mostly it's people telling their stories. And I think the people that come on to our show to listen, they walk away feeling super full. And they kind of take that energy from that person's story. We always kind of get raw with people, which is Caroline's part about getting to the truth, reminds me of when we did Dennis's interview, and here's a guy who owns an explosives company and, blows stuff up for the army and saves the oceans. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I didn't see explosions and saving the oceans in the same thing. And one of his first pieces of entrepreneurship was that he needed to make money to pay for his Harley payment. And he was going to make, picnic tables. And his mom said, nobody will buy your picnic tables. And he was like, oh, yeah. So he went and made picnic tables and they bought it. And now he's had an entrepreneurial lifestyle for 20 years because his mom told him he couldn't. Like that kind of stuff, that's just crazy, So Caroline, do you want to kind of talk to anything else about our show?
Well, the only thing I can say is that it's true that, we have very serious interviews. We have a wide variety of subjects. And on the other end, we have hilarious subjects that we, will touch. Online dating after 50, that, it's not really going to bring you anywhere to listen to that. It's not going to bring you necessarily new knowledge, but it's going to be very entertaining to listen to, because Deborah and I have been in so many different industries. Basically, we've touched so many different jobs. Like for us, it's more like, what did you not do? So we just love to put our own spin on, the world, what's happening, little situation like, talking about an entrepreneur, what it is to get out of the door in the morning when you're a single parent. It can be quite hilarious. There is some seriousness to it, but I mean, it's also real life. And the whole idea of the show is just to really dig deep and have the truth behind it. So we don't want to only see the success. We also want to see, the single dad who's going to go, or even a dad in general, who's going to arrive at a huge corporate meeting. But what no one knows is that he had a coffee dropped on him. He had a toddler that spilled on him and blah, 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 blah. And they end up getting to work and having to be, with a really straight posture. So that's more I think that the side that we want to hit. It's the journey of success.
Mm-hmm. From the book standpoint, because right now that's one of the things that we're promoting is the book is for people that want to get the book as of the 22nd of January, it's going to be available on our speakers page, right? So they can come to the speakers page. They can also go onto Amazon and purchase the ebook or the soft cover. And so we'll have that information as well. And if someone is out there and they're listening and they're like, I'm in network marketing, and I'm a woman or a man, and the book that Caroline didn't mention yet that's coming is for couples. So there's a lot of people in our industry that do their business together, husband and wife. Now there's some serious fun stories in there. Like, you got to imagine what it's like to work, live, and build with your husband and your wife or partners. And so there's these books that people would just love to get their hand on. They're full of personal and business development, whether you're in network marketing or an entrepreneur. And so they can get those through the speakers page that Caroline will mention, Amazon, or if they are one of those people and they want to be an author in the book, then they can simply reach out to us at the True That Show, which is on YouTube. They can also reach out to Caroline personally or myself personally, and they can reach out and they could be in the book if they wanted to do that.
Yes, and what Deb doesn't know is that today I actually made a link to simplify our life. So now we have a link that is called Linktree/the True That Show. So if you go on that link, you will have all of the links. You will have the link where the podcasts are distributed, our YouTube channel where you can get the books, etc., etc. So it's basically all of our babies will be on there. But the podcast is, the podcast you can watch on Apple Radio, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, and I think there's like 50 others. I just named the main one. But if you go on the link that I just gave you, Linktree/the True That Show, you will have all of the channels.
Sounds amazing. You become like a publisher, and I encourage all people who are watching this video and members of our community to check it out, to see the links and apply, buy the book and enjoy. I think you will find new fans within our community. Amazing. And my last question, because we are kind of entering in a new decade, the crazy year was 2020, 2021 seems not going to be very different. So what do you do? What do you do to stay on your journey, stay focused on what is your main passion? Don't be interrupted with the negative news, all these kind of things. And what do you do to practice in self-love, to re-energize yourself? Maybe Deborah, if you want to start first.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I do a lot because personal development is my background. Self-love and self-care is my background. I took care of a lot of people. So one of the things that, first of all, keeps me on my toes is being really dedicated to the people that I bring into my team and into my company, right? And so I take serious when someone says, yes, I want to be part of your organization, that if I say I'm going to lock arms with you, so no matter how I'm feeling, I need to be there for them. It's kind of like a parent's perspective, right? So I don't take care of them like they're children because they're adults. But if I make a commitment, then I leave my stuff at the door. And I think one of the beautiful things about being someone that used to do massage and aromatherapy and healing people is you learn very quickly how to leave your crap at the door because you're going in to take care of other people. So it's a practice. And one of the ways that I did that was a lot of meditation. So I have many years of meditation practice and I teach meditation. And so I can compartmentalize things that if I'm upset about something, I literally can put it aside and be here. But if anyone knows me and if you get to know me and look on my Facebook or anything like that, you will see a lot of music. You know, I had a big intense day today and then I took 10 minutes out before this interview and I stuck on a vinyl record of Carly Simon, right? So I was like, okay, girl, let's do this. We got an interview today. So I use music, I use meditation, I use aromatherapy. And recently I've picked up boxing, right? And as someone who teaches brain health, I can't tell people enough to turn off the news. Like, I'm not saying be ignorant, but literally when you watch something traumatic, it plays in your brain for 30 hours. So when you watch news after news after news, so I'm very much about limiting in and keeping those people that I call it the trauma drama, keep the trauma drama way out here, and then have friends like Caroline and other people in my life that I can be honest with, I can be truthful with. And it's like, you're allowed to have a bad day, or, you know, I just try to keep it to a couple of hours. I don't try to let it bleed into the rest of my day. So I think the stronger the passion, like if you look around my office, I've got 4 treasure maps. I've got an agenda. I've got a picture of, hey, Caroline. And I've also got a picture of my 2 kids that I get up every morning and put my feet on the floor. So that keeps me going. And that's lots and lots. How about you, Caroline?
Well, I haven't managed the art of compartments like Deborah. She's trying to teach me, but for me, when it's not going well, it's not going well. That's it. But no, what I do, honestly, I've been in recovery for 9 years now. So I had to learn to really take it one day at a time and to also live through the emotions instead of just putting them aside. So I think that I'm on a, I'm dealing with it differently, but for me, it's really like I try to feel what it is and leave it there. But I do take the time to feel what it is first. But I would say that my biggest tools that I went to get is really to build myself a powerful network. And when I say that, it's like a network of people that will really support me, listen to me. Like I met people like Deborah, and when you have those kind of people around you and you can actually be real and they're really there to support you and lift you and not take you down, at their level, that's hard to build. But once you have it, it's amazing to have. I have 4 dogs and 3 kids. So I don't really have a choice to get up in the morning. I need to get up and I need to go on with my days. But I mean, what I used to focus on for 2 days before now is like 5 minutes, because I'm really big on journaling every single day, writing out my gratitudes. And we have so much to be grateful for, like so much to be grateful for. So when you really sit down and take the time to do that, you forget what's not working. And what you focus on grows. So focus on what you do have instead of what you don't have. And the other thing is, like, as funky as 2020 was, for me, it was almost one of the best years, because Deborah and I are very similar on that. When there's a challenge, we'll seek the opportunity in the challenge. And, that's really what we did. Our whole business, we needed to reinvent ourselves and do differently. Our regular business that we've done for the past 7 years, we really had to change how we were working it because it wasn't working the same way. So instead of focusing on what was not going well, we really looked at, hey, how can we fix that? How can we make it better? And honestly, we did thrive in 2020, and it looks like 2021 is going to be good as well. And, it comes back a little bit to what I said in the beginning, is accepting and understanding that you have the power of your choices and of your life.
Amazing story, amazing 2 women. I'm so grateful to have you in our community. I encourage all people to check the book, check the show, connect with Deborah, connect with Caroline, and build something together, something amazing. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you see this is something who can have benefits from, please share with your network. And Deborah and Caroline, thank you one more time. I wish you an amazing launch of your new book. Wish you an amazing 2021, and we will keep in touch. Thank you one more time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.